Tonight's episode of the 31st Lap Podcast is brought to you by DirtTrackDigest.com. If it's on dirt, it's on Dirt Track Digest.
This is the 31st Lap Podcast, recorded live in the studios of FingerLakes1.com in downtown Seneca Falls, New York. And now, your hosts, Chris Marquardt.
Good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to the 31st Lap Podcast. Coming to you live from the North Park building here at Academy Square. Appreciate everybody tuning in to hang out with us for a little while. Fun show on deck. We're going to be talking with Jimmy Phelps a little bit about all facets of his racing world, talking about Weedsport and the upcoming visit by the 410 Series. Tony Stewart's All-Star Circuit of Champions going to be coming to the Oval this Sunday. They're going to be in the region running Friday at Outlaw. Then they're going to go to State Line on Saturday over in Jamestown before making the trip over to Weedsport on Sunday. So that's an exciting 3-day weekend for them, tearing through New York. And then on top of that, we'll take a look back at the results in addition to catching up with Jimmy about what his racing season has been like so far and some of the challenges that they have seen and come across over there at Weedsport. So without any further delays, we'll get Jimmy on the line. Jimmy is waiting in the wings right now. Jimmy, how are you?
I'm good, guys. How you doing?
We're doing great. Appreciate you coming on the show. I know it's an exciting time of year as everything starts to get on its feet and all the work that you put in through the off season. You start to reap some of the benefits of that. But as we were talking before the show started, there's no shortage of work to do, and it's almost crazier now than it is any other time of the year because you got the race cars to worry about, you got the track to worry about, you got all the preparation and stuff that you've put all this effort into. And not quite to a point of the season where you can start just enjoying all that effort and collecting rewards.
Yeah, no, we're getting there. Fortunately, we got some really good help right now. I know Mr. Hankey's got some of his Mohawk crew up here kind of helping us get some stuff buttoned up that we wanted to get done here before this Sunday. And, for the most part, I think we're over the hump from a construction standpoint. The winter provided a good opportunity to put a really unique and exciting schedule together. So now we just got to have, our best foot forward, let's say, and make sure that all those shows can reach their potential. And it's been good so far.
Well, I mean, it's a good jumping off point just to have this race, the Tony Stewart Series. Tony Stewart going to be in competition with the Arcitc All-Star Circuit of All-Star Series that's going to be there this weekend. Great to have that. Great to put it together. Great to put it on the schedule. But that also means a lot more stuff has to fall in line. How stressful is this weekend for you?
Well, it's fortunately we're coming off two really good shows, and we've had some luck with the weather. And that's something we haven't really been accustomed to here in the last couple of years. Right. And I think we got the ball rolling now. We got some momentum up. Obviously, our staff's got a couple of good events under their belts where they've had a pretty good crowd to have to attend to, and so for the most part, I think we're ready. I mean, that's the one thing about Weedsport. Every show we try to treat as if it's the biggest show we got, and that translates into a lot of work. A lot of man hours, a lot of paint, a lot of people. But we're fortunate to have a group here that just puts their heart and soul into this, and every single one of them takes a ton of pride in what they do, and that makes our job easy from a management standpoint because they don't care who's coming to town. This place is going to look good, and everybody's going to do a good job. So the Tony Stewart thing's definitely added some excitement for sure. I mean, the show definitely had already had a bunch of attention, and was. But the minute the announcement came that he was coming, we saw it with our ticket sales and started, seeing the buzz. So he's still getting it done, and he's running well. And I think everybody's waiting to see that first, all-star win. We're hoping it comes here Sunday. And there's some really good guys that run that deal, and we're excited to have them all here.
Did any conversations happen between you and Tony? Not so much manager or promoter hats, but driver to driver in terms of him preparing to come and race the Oval?
No, not yet. Not yet. I mean, I think, I'm sure that he's probably reached out to Dave Blaney. Blaney's got some experience here. He's been here testing the modified, and obviously with Dave's association with HBR and with Al and our relationship with him, I'm sure he probably got a call. I haven't talked to Dave yet personally, but I think probably them guys, whether it's Tony or any of them guys. I mean, them guys see so many racetracks in a year, and they've they can adapt. And I think the days of worrying about what they're getting into are over. They know they're ready for anything.
Yeah, you made reference to the roster. Jack Hoddenchild following that, Chad Kamenaugh following that series. Both of those folks going to be in the pits. Aaron Rootsall, he's leading the championship right now over Jack Hoddenchild himself. They got 49 dates for the series, and they've got a bunch of cars that have committed to following the whole thing. So, I mean, obviously that series doing something right in terms of their national perspective, but it is still pretty nice to have a big touring series like that coming to the area to spend the weekend. Like, they're hitting Outlaw on Friday, then Jamestown, and then your track. Do any conversations happen between you and other area tracks trying to put together a 3-race weekend to make it more enticing for the series to come?
Yeah, I know. Well, a lot of the talks were kind of mediated by the All-Star group. I mean, that's one thing I did like about their outfit. They were really conscientious of not putting races on top of each other, but yet, also looking at the travel and trying to get, so if you notice, I mean, Outlaw still got a little bit different crowd than Weedsport, and obviously State Line really kind of spreads out the state a little bit. So it's, I think it's a win-win. The racers are going to have enough to, with a 3-day deal, the racers, which, let's face it, most of them aren't from the area.
Sure.
They can get 3 good nights in. And obviously we're all kind of spread out enough that I think we can all take advantage of it, and, the fans will come and all 3 tracks should do well. And that was the one thing that they did a good job of from day one. I mean, there's some all-star races coming later in the year at other local tracks, but, it's not like they put 3 races within, 45 minutes of each other. And I think that, I'm happy they did that, because I think that's going to help make everybody from, now to the end of the year when they come to Central New York successful.
Yeah, that's one thing that sometimes looks really good on paper. If you have 3 tracks that are right on top of each other that run different nights and you can hit all 3 of them, that's great. But at the same time, you're also asking your fans to dip in $22 every time, or $25, or some of these bigger series that cost even more money. You're talking $30, $40 tickets just for general admission, and you might only get that fan that was going to go to all 3 of those tracks on a given weekend for weekly competition. They might only race once that weekend and go occupy a spot in the grandstands and only buy hot dogs at one track versus running all 3 because of the increased expense. So, I mean, watching the way that calendar played out and the geography of it, like you said, with the different clientele down in wine country, you being close to Auburn and Syracuse, and then Jamestown being out on the opposite side of the state, it's clustered together nice for the folks that are traveling with the series. They're used to driving, 6, 8, 10 hours. Now you're looking at putting in a couple, 2 or 3 between each of the tracks. It's going to spread things out nice.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a good little swing for them, and we look forward to having them. I mean, they've been great to work with so far. And we're going to do a good job for them. So we're excited about the opportunity. We're excited about the enthusiasm from the fans that we're seeing. That's been really neat. We coming off a really good show with the Big Block Tour. Kind of from a racer standpoint, it kind of stunk that we lost a couple shows, but from a track standpoint, we got to have the opener, let's say,
right.
and I think it helped kind of add to the buzz. So it's been good. We just got to keep the ball rolling here, and hopefully Mother Nature will want to play ball with us.
The tour finally, referencing to the Super Dirt Car Series, finally getting up on its feet after a number of rainouts and weather-related challenges. It's got to be good for everybody involved just to finally get some points on the board with that series.
Yeah, our series is strengthened, and we got more shows than we did 5 years ago for sure. But you still can't afford to lose too many, and you're naturally going to lose a few along the way. So when you lose 2 right off the bat, it makes you a little uneasy.
Sure. In terms of the operation that's coming on Sunday, Arcitc All-Star Circuit of Champions. It's 410 sprint cars that are going to be on hand. It's going to be awesome. A couple of the other names that follow the series on the regular basis, Dave Blaney, Paul McMahon, also a couple of the names we've talked to those guys a number of different times. Cal Conley, Tim Schaefer, another one of them that drives with it on a regular basis. It's a who's who. You recognize those names from other 410 racing circles, but they've aligned themselves here with the All-Star Circuit of Champions, and it's paying dividends for them. Got the opportunity to come and spend 3 days here in New York. Sunday, the Dirt Modifieds are going to be on the card as well. You going to have your car out?
Yeah. Our plans are to race, and we're already starting to see a pretty good lineup coming in. I wasn't concerned. We got a great group of local big block, guys that support the local big block stuff. But I know Mike Mahaney, Larry White, they're both going to do double duty, so they'll be in a sprint and a mod. I heard. I think it sounds like Billy Decker's going to be here. Brett Hearn confirmed today he's coming, so it's going to be a pretty good lineup. And again, I know when we're out traveling, those few opportunities a year that we get to be partnered up with a 410 sprints, it's pretty exciting. So I think that definitely adds to the show for sure.
The 410s do things to the track that make the big block modified more raceable. Is that fair to say? How it sort of the 410s they get so much wheel spin, and they can shine up the track, and lets a big block modified that's good, that's deep in the field, work their way to the front.
Yeah, I guess, that depends on what you want to see for a racetrack as a big block modified driver. I know most of the guys from Central New York and most of the guys that run the tour, they welcome the track getting slick and polished off. And, the sprint cars at any capacity, whether it's 360 or 410s, they're gonna definitely help, magnify that. So I think that there's especially Weedsport, and there's a lot of tracks in our area that seem like, when the track starts slowing down and the groove widens and it starts getting slicked off, the racing just gets 10 times better. And I would say a little of that's going to go on, and I know I personally as a driver welcome that. So we'll have to just wait and see.
In terms of the racing itself, $2,500 to win for the modifieds, 40-lap main. Gates open at 3 o'clock. Grandstands open at 4. Racing is going to begin at 6 o'clock. Reserve seating priced at $29. General admission is $25 for the race over there at Weedsport. Focusing also on Outlaw. On Friday night, they're going to have pits and grandstands opening at 3 o'clock. Pit access priced at $40. Adult grandstands $26. Putting the attention back on Weedsport real quick, allstarsprint.com, the website if you want more information, or weedsportspeedway.com to get more details there. You were talking about the schedule and the off-season giving you a chance to put together something that's a little bit diverse. In a couple weeks, you're going to have 410s back again. The USAC National Sprint Car Tour are going to be in town.
Yeah. So, same displacement with no wing, so it's gonna be cool. We've been trying to get that deal lined up now for like 3 years, and we're super pumped about that race. And I again, you talk about kind of just trying to gauge the enthusiasm from the fans and the comments and the phone calls and messages that we get, and that's going to be a great night. I mean, they, the worst part is I know very little about the organization. I just know as a special events facility, we wanted to give it a try, and fortunately we were able to, tack onto the back of that Eastern Storm Tour, and so locally, and I mean, the fans are pumped, and hopefully we're gonna roll right off a great night and roll right into another one, and try to just keep it rolling.
That series and Tony Stewart's series, they come with a collection of drivers. To get 410s to come from out of town, you're going to have to rely on Pennsylvania to come. We don't have a ton of 410 motors laying around New York. At least the vibe is that anyway. Any conversations with 360 guys looking to come and jump in and try it with their smaller displacement motors, and knowing that perhaps if the track slicks off?
I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure that Coleman Gulick's planning on it. I know Larry White's planning on it. I did have a conversation with him a few weeks back. I think you're going to see a few. I don't know how many.
Sure.
I know that our wingless shootout that we had last year definitely was an indication to me that that the wingless sprint cars are going to work here. Fans got to see an amazing show.
Right.
And again, you were talking about a relatively large amount of inexperience,
Sure.
and but I'll tell you, there was some 360 guys that had never run without a wing, and they held their own. And so I don't know. It's hard to say. I mean, I guess a little of it's going to depend on where everybody's program's at, in the next couple of weeks.
Sure.
I know the USAC rules differ a little bit. I don't think it's enough. I don't think it's enough to keep somebody that really wants to do it from coming. But we'll just have to see. I mean, I think Weedsport can handle a little bit of an engine. I think a 360 in the right situation could probably compete, especially without a wing.
Right.
We'll just have to wait and see whether they'll do it or not.
When you look at those tours that already have a built-in following, then you compare it to the dirt tracks around here with a support series event. Like the modifieds, it's not a super dirt car series event. It's just dirt big block modifieds are on the card. Compared to trying to recruit 410 cars, you're trying to recruit dirt modifieds. Do you spend more time than you expected on the phone trying to get those guys to come, trying to get confirmations? Do you do a lot of active recruiting, or do you just kind of put the money out there and whoever shows up, shows up?
Yeah, no, I really didn't. I mean, I got to be honest, I did for our opener. For our opener, I definitely wanted to get, real good outreach and let the fans know, hey, I had a really good idea that, the guys that came were coming, but I wanted some confirmation. And, I think that for the most part, most of them on an individual basis have really almost done that job for us. I mean, by,
Sure.
Whether it be their schedules on their websites or social media or whatever, quite a few of them have, made announcements before we've even had to. So I'm pretty comfortable that, it's going to be a super strong field of big blocks. I think that, being that opener was such a big hit, come right back with Super Car Series, and the fact that there's not a lot of big block racing now, in Central New York. We got a late start with the winter. All those things combined, into a situation where, when an opportunity comes to race for some decent money, on a night where there's not a lot going on, I think you're actually going to get them. So we just got to do a good job at making sure the track's, right, and try to get them in, get them out, and hopefully they'll keep supporting us.
Is it, as a driver, you've been on the receiving end of those phone calls. How's it different now that you're the one making them?
Well, I guess how it's different is I guess you're used to I guess seeing how the situation is and whether there's any, possible support and this and that. Not that we ever got into doing that very often, but now when that call comes, we're the ones giving the support and,
right.
passes or whatever, whatever they're looking for. And it's not easy because, obviously you got a bottom line you're trying to meet. And, if in a perfect world you'd like to give the racers everything you could. And so that's been the hard part, is just trying to find that fine line to where, I guess now, to answer your question, I mean, I guess now I understand, all those years of hearing, well, the promoters are cheap and they don't do this or whatever. It's really just because, I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to keep the lights on, and that's that's the biggest thing. But
sort of in the same vein, did you give it any thought to switching away from big blocks and going with the 358s for the weekly divisions, or for the regular division?
I mean, I really haven't. We kind of. I mean, I'm not opposed to the 358 thing. I think, long term, I think that on a weekly basis, I think the 358 thing is going to work in certain markets. I think that Weedsport, though, is still in the special events standpoint,
right.
or special events market. So, right now, I think when it comes to modified racing, your premier division is definitely the big block modifieds. Weedsport's the type of track that, is conducive to a 358 being competitive. So I didn't really feel like, we needed, aside from our Super Dirt Car 358 race and during Dirt Week, I really didn't see where we needed to, do any more just 358 races. I think that, a 358 on a 358 could be competitive on a dirt series night if they qualify well.
Right.
On a draw night, especially if the track's going to get blown off fairly early, the dirt legal 358 cars can come run at dirt legal 358 rules. So they're they get a little bit of weight break. So I mean, realistically, like if Sunday rolls around and all we have is a 358 up there, I'm still going to race, and I'm still going to be confident that if we get a good draw and we got our stuff together, we're going to be competitive. So,
sure.
I think it'll take a little time for these, new 358 guys to get comfortable and understand that, Weedsport's the type of place that, they can still come and run and be fairly competitive. I think over time you'll start to see a little bit of a mix during our open big block shows. You'll see some small blocks running up front. And I mean, it's happened over the test of time here. Alan Johnson used to do it all the time. We've had Eric Rudolph win, and Danny Johnson won a big block tour race 2 years ago here. You know what I mean? So, the door's open if they want to come run. We'd love to have them.
Shifting gears real quick, just to focus on where your season's at. You're running at Land of Legends this year. They've made a lot of improvements and upgrades over there, keeping plenty busy with the dirt modified side of things. For you, where's the season at in your eyes?
Well, we've been running really well. I mean, we haven't, the win total doesn't show it, but I mean, we've been in the top 5, I think, most every night, since we started up here in Central New York, and that's just where we need to be and keep building from there. And I guess if we can be in the hunt all the time, the wins will come. So it seemed like we got a little bit of a late start on things, but for the most part, our stuff seems really competitive. We're itching to get out on the road and get ripping. But the Canandaigua been good to us. We got a bunch of seconds. Of course, Matt's tough over there.
Very, very.
And then I think we've only had 2 shows at Burden and been a bridesmaid both of them. So I mean, we're in the hunt, and we just need weather and need the season to get rolling. It just feels like it hasn't got really started yet. We've been pretty competitive here at Weedsport. I think we had a real legit shot at the opener and ended up breaking apart in the rear end there late and knocked the brakes out of it and ended up third. But at the end of the day, I think we're where we need to be, and hopefully we can just keep building from there.
That all sounds awesome. I hope that everything goes great with the 410s. Wish you a lot of luck once the season gets rolling. That is one of the problems that we've seen the last couple of years with this intermittent weather problem. For all the guys racing, for all the track owners trying to get races in, is it's tough to get that momentum. It's tough to get that flow going so that you feel like you've got some rhythm.
It certainly is, and especially when our season is fairly abbreviated anyway. But geez, I mean, it seems like having a race program on a Sunday in Central New York for the last 2 or 3 years has been just a total curse. I mean, I feel for Bill and Kim at Utica Rome. They're feeling it. They have been. It's weird. It's just weird how the weather's worked, and we joke about we should just have a regular season of racing every Tuesday because it never rains on a Tuesday. But so we'll see.
Well, I know you got a ton of work to get to. I appreciate you coming and hanging out with us for a little while. Anybody that you want to mention that helps keep the car going, the track going, you going?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of people, but I got to thank, I guess first and foremost, got to thank Alan and Judy Hankey and everybody at Mohawk Northeast, and we're all super fortunate to be able to kind of be a part of this with them, and obviously everybody that kind of makes this place tick. I got to thank my family. I got to thank all the crew here that are on site during the day, and all the guys up at the shop that kind of pick up the slack when I can't be up there. And Kurt does a great job making sure the cars are ready to go. And like I said, I mean, I'm really just a very small part of this whole picture, and we're just fortunate to have the ability to have such a huge group of, really good people that'll do a really good job, and, just make it tick, and it's fun.
Well, that's good to hear that it's still fun, because you got a lot of racing ahead of you still for 2017 and points beyond, or 2018 and points beyond.
Let's hope so. I appreciate you having us on, and hopefully you're gonna be able to make it out Sunday, and just keep our fingers crossed for the good weather that it looks like we're gonna get.
I wish you the best, man. It's going to be a good weekend.
All right, sounds great.
Thanks for coming on, Jimmy. We'll talk to you soon.
Yeah. All right, thanks, guys.
Take it. Bye now. There goes Jimmy Phelps. Again, let you know how it breaks down for the weekend over there at Weedsport. Dirt Car Modified is going to be on deck along with the 410s, 40-lap main for the Modifieds. Gates open at 3, grandstands open at 4, racing at 6, reserve seating $29, general admission $25. For additional information, allstarsprints.com or weedsportspeedway.com. They're also racing Friday at Outlaw down in Dundee. They've got the modified street stock Sportsman IMC8 and 4 cylinders on deck for that. They did rain out over the weekend, and hot laps at Outlaw set for 6 o'clock, racing at 7, pit gates and grandstands opening at 3, pit access $40, adult grandstands $26. There's going to be a chicken barbecue and a DJ on Friday over there at Outlaw as well. So wish the best of luck to all those guys that are going to give it a try, and hopefully the weather holds out for all you fans that want to go attend as well. Pretty much nothing got in over the weekend on Friday. Spencer Speedway, the only one able to get their action, and Tommy Catalano won the feature. It was his 12th in the Sunoco Modified division. He led from the pole and then had to shake back Mike Lady, and Mike Lady faded at the end and couldn't do anything. Darrell Lewis got third ahead of Eddie Hawkins and Andy Lewis. Tim Farrell led early in the 20-lap 6-cylinder feature. It was run off without interruption going green to checkered. Brian Hallett came up to second place, and with the laps winding down, Ashley Schoonmaker and Barrett Schenk closed in, but nobody could get past Farrow. Travis Montgomery got a win over A.J. Montgomery in the green to checkered 4-cylinder feature over Jacob Gustafson, Tyler Catalano, Dave Hymes as well. Terry Wilson won the Classic Modified feature. Chris Finicario won the New York Superstock feature, topping Zach Willis and Nick Robinson. We had some ESS action over the weekend as well. The Empire Super Sprints were scheduled to have a couple races over the weekend up in Canada. Sunday, Jason Barney got a win over Coleman Gulick and Mike Mahaney at Cornwall. Saturday, Steve Poirier won at Drummondville. He got the lead from Coleman Gulick just after the halfway point and got his 66th career ESS win. So great run for Poirier in that one. Friday night at Granby, of course, that fell to rain. Sunday, Utica Rome washed out. They didn't get their racing in. Saturday, Pat Ward won at Fulton, battling Larry White and then Tim Sears in a photo finish at the line. Sears was second ahead of Larry White, Mike Bowman, and Bobby Harrington. Wade Chrisman and Alan Fink won Sportsman features. Kevin Cook won the late model main. Chris Bonofsky won the novice sportsman main, and Jordan Thomas won the Patriot Sprint Tour feature at over at Brewerton. Matt Shepard won his third modified feature of the year at Land of Legends, as Jimmy Phelps was talking about a moment ago. He was on rails, got past Billy Dunn, and then got the win over Eric Rudolph ahead of Billy Dunn, Justin Harrison, Steve Payne in the top 5. Paul Guerreri won his 44th career sportsman win. Congratulations to him over Matt Guerreri, Dave Mercatelli, Nick Guerreri, and Kane Bristol. Eric Carlson won the 305 sprint feature over Darryl Ruggles. Henry DePay won again in the street stock division ahead of Mike Welch. And let's see, Brad Steinrich, Sean Lloyd, Nick Dandino getting top 5s. Billy Payne won the novice sportsman feature. John Stanley won the dirt modified nostalgia tour over Nathan Berry and Bob Johnson. This weekend is the Brian Simple Memorial Demolition Derby, and Wayne Ellison's going to be overseeing that one for them after all the racing card ends over there at Land of Legends. So I think that's going to do it for us. We appreciate everybody tuning in. Wrapping up number 242 here, the 31st lap. We're going to be back again in a couple weeks, checking more with area motorsports racing. We appreciate everybody tuning in. We'll see you then.